What's up, guys? How you doing? Doug here, Recording Connection Audio Institute. We're going to take a quick look at some of the other uses for a compressor and learn how to sidechain a compressor. Sidechain is a feature on most compressors that allows you to use another source as the input trigger. Okay, so what this gives us an opportunity to do is a multitude of different things. You can use this in a bunch of different ways. I'm going to show you one particular way in this particular example here. So let's listen to this loop really quickly and kind of get a sense of what's here. So you have a drum loop, a couple of drum loops. There's an external kick drum, 2 drum loops, and then the bass synth lead comes in here. And you can tell it's just kind of boring. Let's listen to that by itself. So kind of boring, kind of dry, not much flair to it. One of the ways that we can use a compressor is we can have a sidechain input trigger the compressor on this particular track. So the one that we're going to use is this here. Let me get rid of this here. Just a very simple percussive sound. So it's actually offbeat. We'll listen to it with the kick. So now let's listen to how we would set this up. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to set up a compressor on the channel that we're trying to affect here. So in this case, the synth lead. So I'm going to use the channel strip again, and then I'm going to turn off all of the things I'm not going to be using. So I will turn off the EQ and the filters and just leave the dynamics in place. And then if you'll notice, there's a tab here that says sidechain, right? So what I need to do is I need to set this sidechain to my key input. And if you look at the top up here, it's asking me what input I want to use as my key input. So this is what is going to be triggering the compressor. Whereas before, what you've seen previously is we put a compressor on a track, and then once that track goes above a certain threshold, the compressor acts and starts to turn that volume down, and you can hear the effects of the compressor. Well, in this case, it's not going to be listening to the track that it's on. It's going to be listening to a separate track and then affecting this track. So I'm going to set this to a random bus. I'll choose bus number 9. And then I'll come over here to my parameters, and I'll just get some good compression set up. I don't know at what point I'm going to need the threshold set, so I'll just set the ratio for now, and then I'm going to come back over here. And since this is the track, the percussion track I'm going to be using as my input, I'm going to set up a send on this track. So I will send the output of this track to that same bus, and I'm going to do it at 100%. So I'm going to put this at unity gain. So now let's listen to the difference of these two tracks here. So we'll actually do it where a place where it's playing. So you don't hear much difference now, but let's go ahead and increase the ratio and lower the threshold a little bit and see what happens. You know what, I'm going to take this, I'm going to send this out to this bus here so that we don't listen to it. So now you can hear a definite difference in the way that this track is behaving. So let's hear it before the compression is added. Then I'm going to engage the compressor. So what it's doing is it's turning it down based on this sound that's coming, that is being sent to it. So every time this note hits, ding, ding, you hear this turn down a little bit. Now we can do this a couple of different ways. So let's hear how this sounds in our mix. So this adds an interesting characteristic to the sound itself, and there's a multitude of different areas that you can see where this would be beneficial. Another would be, let's say you have a vocal that doesn't really sit well in a mix. Well, you can use this side chain input to have the vocal turn down, the track that it's on top of, so that it sits a little bit better in the mix. And we'll actually demo that for you once we get to mastering, because it's a pretty cool tool that you can use in different situations. So that's it for now, guys. This has been side chaining. Again, what I encourage you guys to do is to just copy the exact settings that we have here, and explore how you would employ this in different things. You want to think outside the box. Obviously, this isn't going to be the way you'll use this feature every single time. There are a multitude of different ways you can actually apply this to mix and to give you a more interesting and diverse sound. So stay tuned. There's more to come.